I apologize that we live in a society. I truly apologize. I am sorry that we live in a society. Good morning, good evening, and good day. I'm Francine, host of Dramabuds, and welcome to my podcast. So hello everyone, welcome back to Dramabuds, the K-drama podcast. Today we're starting with a special episode, not yet officially the start of season 2. Once again, I am giving a recap of all the shows I've watched in the past 3 months. And unlike the last recap episode, I barely watched anything. Like, I'll say I barely watched anything, but then you'll see like the video length is, I don't know, something stupidly long for some reason. For the past 2 months, most of the episodes were of me like answering questions and just talking about random things and not really reviewing full shows the way I used to. I just haven't gotten into a lot of them, and most of the ones I'll talk about today were the ongoing shows that I watched every week. So this quarter, I only finished 14 shows. And so my total this year is 35 shows, and my all-time total is 66 shows. So that's still a lot. That's still a lot, honestly. But okay, let's start. So I'm just gonna briefly go through the shows that I've already reviewed on the podcast. Just 2 shows this quarter. Dear My Friends and I Hear Your Voice. So go listen to those 2 episodes if you have not checked them out. Those are the only reviews, recaps, and rants that I had this quarter. So, okay. So let's talk about the finished shows. Like, I didn't watch them as they were ongoing, but I haven't reviewed them. So here are just, some flash reviews of the shows I've watched. First show I watched this quarter was Pinocchio. I said a lot about it already in my formulaic K-dramas episode. If you have not listened to that, go on. And of the 3 Park Ye-ryun shows I've watched, that writer, ranking-wise, it's dead in the middle. But that's also not good because, like, I'm a bit apathetic to it. It's like, yeah, I watched the show. I do not have any particular feelings towards it, for or against it. It's just a show. It's not that good. It's not that bad either. I barely even remember watching it. Honestly, I almost forgot to include it on this list. As usual, PHR is good with the setup. She's good at, like, giving you the plot from the very beginning, and then you're like, wow, this seems so interesting. I wonder where it's going to go. And then it just kind of slowly gets more dragged out and more ridiculous, and then the characters, when they start falling in love, it's just like, great, what's your character again aside from being the person who's in love with the other main lead? Who knows? It's just another one of, PHR's works where she picks and chooses her tropes and hopes that everything will turn out okay. And it just wasn't that memorable for me. It was not great. Okay, I would like to share an announcement. This is my promise to everyone and also to myself. I would like to officially announce that my resolution for this season, my new season resolution, is to stop talking about startup. I truly apologize to anyone who listened to that 2-hour podcast of me and my sister ranting about startup, or, just to anyone who was just peacefully listening to any one of my episodes, and then suddenly I went into like a tirade, against startup. I apologize. I am sorry. Okay? I promise to not talk about that show unless absolutely necessary. And I will explain like why I found this comparison to be so necessary. I promise. I will stop, talking bad about Startup. I'm sure I have other shows to hate on. We'll probably discuss some of them later, but yeah, Startup will not be my most hated show in the next season. Well, I'll find another target, I promise. Okay, next show I watched this quarter is Fight for My Way. I talked a lot about this show in my K-drama couples episode. Initially, I was very resistant to watching this because, guys, I have to admit it, I have an irrational dislike for Park Seo-joon. And listen, I said irrational. I am aware that it has no basis. I don't know where like this dislike for him came from. But, I love Kim Ji-won. She's my girl. If you have not listened to my favorite K-drama actors and actresses episode, she got a special special mention there because I love her so much. And I know that they're both good at chemistry with their co-stars, so it was going to be fine. And like, to my surprise, it was actually a very pleasant watch. Like, just the right amount of chill. Sometimes I felt things. Sometimes I revisited my life dreams and all that. In general, it's just a very chill rom-com about two characters and their dreams. I can't complain about that all that much. Good characters. Like, there's a good balance with the love line and their individual development, their individual plot lines that isn't related to the romance. It was a bit draggy at some points, I'll say that. But overall, like, I'm fine with it. It's fine. I am borderline apathetic to it, but it's leaning positive. Like, apathetic, leaning, it's good. It's okay. So that's good enough. Next show I watched this quarter is Designated Survivor 60 Days. And you know what? I'll just spoil you. I'm gonna be talking about this in a separate episode in the coming weeks or so. So I won't say anything about Designated Survivor. But the fact that I am dedicating an entire episode to this show tells you something. Let's leave it at that. Okay, next show I watched is Move to Heaven. I will consider this a finished show since like Netflix released it all in one go. Honestly, this show was not as much of a tearjerker as I expected. Like, I thought I would be crying at every episode, but like, I felt myself getting bored and not paying attention as much as I should have. But the relationships involving Ji Jin-hee's character, Ji Jin-hee, I love you so much. I'll talk about him in my Designated Survivor episode, promise. But sorry, back to Move to Heaven. The relationships involving Ji Jin-hee's character, they're the best. They are so painful, heartwarming. It's just, I think, even after his death, sorry for the spoilers, he seems to be like the central character of the show. Even though I said it wasn't that much of a tearjerker, I will admit that in the finale, I was just crying for 30 minutes straight. Probably like the moment I started crying, I just couldn't stop. So that was a good cry. That was a very good cry. The show in general got much stronger as like the Move to Heaven squad. Lee Jae-hoon, Tang Jun-sang, and Hong Sung-hee? But I forgot her name. But I think her, like, when the three of them got closer and they became less hostile to each other, that's when the show really started picking up for me. In summary, though, Lee Jae-hoon, Best Actor, Tang Jun-sang, Best New Actor. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so now we get to the heart of the matter, to the meaty portion of this episode. I'm going to talk about all the ongoing shows that I watched every week, and some of these I already mentioned in my Q1 recap. Like, I mentioned the shows that I was currently watching at that time and had since finished. And here are my thoughts. Let's start with Sisyphus the Myth. Alright, I'm just gonna take a breather here. Beware, this may be the show I will target the most this season of Dramabuds. But that's assuming I remember enough about the show and understood enough about it to even like pick out any details from that mess of a show. It was a mess. It was it's like it's sci-fi at its worst because it just lost its concept. Like it didn't lose its concept, but I think it never made sense of its own concept internally. Like it never understood itself, and so it never made itself understood to the viewers, also known as me. And I don't even know if I don't understand it because I'm stupid or if it was just that messy. Like, is it me? Am I the problem? But I don't think I'm the problem because other people have struggled just as much as I did. In general, though, like, not just the sci-fi concept, whatever. In general, I have problems with, like, the storytelling and the pacing, which I think even in a non-sci-fi, in any genre, you can have problems with storytelling and pacing. I think I'm good enough, smart enough to figure that out. Like, okay, Hantei Soul taking forever to figure out what's going on with this time loop thing and the control bureau and Sigma. Like, it took him forever to figure out what was going on so that he could, do something about the situation. I'll rant about that more someday. No spoilers. And also, another thing that really pissed me off about the show was, like, towards the middle to the end of the show, it spent nearly 20 minutes every other episode in, like, the flashback / flash forward parts where Kang So-hee is in her future before she went to the past. You're getting this. And, like, spending 20 minutes in technically a flashback just to, like, I don't know, show off the visual sets and all that. And I, like, look, most of the time in the flashbacks, like, So-hee is with her dad, right? And, like, a lot of people have said that this is kind of the most emotional relationship in the show. And, I felt like I should be invested in this relationship. Like, if there's one thing that would make me pay attention, it's a good familial relationship, right? You know me, that stuff gets to me really quickly. But I just could not. Like, I could not pay attention to this show because it just was so bloated and senseless at some points. Like, the moment that I noticed that flashbacks were taking up so much time in the episodes, like, I thought it would be a flash and not, a 20-minute chunk of the entire show. Good God. Also, here's my complaints about Kang So-hee. Like, Kang So-hee, the character, is the perfect example of, like, girl boss with a gun equals strong female character. Like, I still don't understand what her character motivations are because I feel like, in her past when she discovered, like, the wedding photo of herself and Han Tae-sul, like, it just cemented this idea that they're meant to be with each other or something. And that was kind of her main motivation for the entire show. But I never really understood her as a character, which, once again, it could be a me thing, it could be a show thing, who knows? I barely paid attention. I said I wanted, like, a Cho Sung-woo love line, but not like this. I didn't want it like this. This was not what I wanted. In general, the show's a mess. And yet, there are still some, vehement defenders of it. And you know what? More power to the people who truly enjoyed the show, who understood it, who were so invested in the mystery and figuring out the timelines and all that. Like, more power to you if you love this show. I did not. I'll leave it at that. Okay, next show. Hopefully a more positive review it will be. Our next show is Navilera, which was a very, very, very heartwarming show. Like, it's the type of show where you're just in it for the feels, or you should just be in it for the feels. So as long as it, like, delivers in making you feel those things, it's good. And yeah, it delivered. And so my take on it's like, yeah, it's good. I felt what I wanted to feel and needed to feel at that moment. Like, I wouldn't call it absolutely stellar writing or acting. In some say it's even cliche with, like, the terminal illness of the old man. Sorry, spoiler alert. But I don't care. I don't care if it's cliche. When I found out that he was sick, I cried so hard because it knew how to tug at people's heartstrings. I will applaud that. That's great. You know, I came in here wanting to see someone pursuing their dreams, despite, not thinking that they'll be good at it. Like, it's not to be good at your dream, it's just to pursue it, just to do it for the sake of doing it. And I got that. And it made me feel so many things. I also felt like super strong family dynamics, issues, and all that. And then they just became more and more wholesome over time. There was also a very, very wholesome, that's really the word for the show, very wholesome found family dynamics between Cherok and Haraboji. And, even though towards the end, like, Cherok's character just became super, I don't know, he got sidelined, I guess. Like, his character development was like, okay, you're not pursuing your competitive career now. It's Haraboji's time to shine. It's okay. It's okay. You know what? In this show, I'd prefer that we focus more on Haraboji than Cherok, honestly. So, okay. And crying-wise, there were some intense tears in the show. Not a lot of tears, but very intense ones. So, in general, it's just a very, like, melodramatic, wholesome, kinda sad, kinda inspiring show. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. So, the next show I watched was Beyond Evil, our Baeksang Best Drama, Best Screenplay, Best Actor winner. And it deserves those awards. It does. Look, I'll be totally honest and just admit that I didn't understand most of the show. I only started understanding things like after episode 12. And so I can't say that I'm as, into it as all the Beyond Evil cult people out there. Really, like, I don't know how to get invested in a thriller. It's just not something that is natural to me. I didn't develop, like, the deep interest and investment in these characters the way others did. Nor did I consider them like a squad the way others consider them a squad. I don't know. I just didn't have the emotional attachment. But I can acknowledge when a show is good. It's good. It's good. It's well written, well made, well acted. I forgot which episode I mentioned this, but I'm not a fan of thrillers. I really forgot which episode specifically, but I'm just not a fan of thrillers. Usually they have, like, weak characters that are just plot vehicles. Like, they just go through the things and then figure things out along the way, but they're not really strong individuals with their own journeys. Or, like, the plot in itself is weak. And then they try to just cover that up by making it shocking and adding twist after twist after twist. And it's like, yo, no amount of twists can cover up the fact that this plot is losing its own logic and it's becoming incoherent and just shocking for the sake of shock value, right? Or even worse, it could just go completely off the rails, like Awaken and introduce mutants in episode 7. I still can't believe that show happened. Okay. And in all honesty, there are only 3 good thrillers that I know of. Sorry to the thriller fans who have strong opinions on this, but the only 3 good thrillers I've really watched are Signal, Stranger, and Beyond Evil. Like, those are the ones that I can acknowledge are like, okay, this is good. This held up mostly, I think, based on my limited IQ or something. Also, each of those won Best Drama. Technically, Daesang for Stranger, but consider it like a Best Drama that got bumped up. So, Best Drama. Also won Best Screenplay and Best Actor or Best Actress. And let me just say, I noticed this with the 3 Best Actor Actresses that won. Like, in general, throughout the show, no problems with their portrayal of the character. Great. No, nothing to say. And then there's just one moment where they, like, there's just this energy, or like they just act something out so well that I just get blown away by it. Like, for example, okay, for Cho Sung-woo in Stranger, like, Wang Shimok finally having emotions when someone died. I don't know if I should spoil this. I won't spoil this. But when someone dies and then Wang Shimok has emotions, whoa, that blew me away. And then for Kim Ye-soo in Signal, when Cha Yun-soo got kidnapped in her past, right? Like how she acted that out, chills, shivers, goosebumps. And here in Beyond Evil, when Lee Dong-sik tried to get the truth out of Park Jung-jae, like trying to clear up all his like false memories and everything, and just that entire scene at the end of episode 12, like for me that was a turning point in my viewing experience, because like when that scene hit, I was like, whoa, this is the first time that I've been so invested while watching. Like I was so into it because wow, this is intense. Yeah, like there's always this one critical moment where wow, that's great acting. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not very good at this, and I also barely paid attention. But yes, in summary, Beyond Evil is good. I couldn't appreciate it fully because I didn't know where it was going, and I was watching it while it was ongoing. So like my experience kept getting cut short. Like I watched 2 episodes and I think, whoa, this seems interesting, and then oh wait, I have to wait another week. So my interest dies down, and then it just ebbs and flows, and I never got fully invested into it. So now I need to rewatch it because I know where it's going to go. I can watch it all in one go, and I think I will understand really what's so great about it and what got people invested in the characters. That's really what's surprising to me. Okay, the next show I watched was Vincenzo. And I'll just say it straight. This show is so overrated. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know where people are getting this idea that it's like a masterpiece show, that it was so engaging, that it was just gripping in all ways. Like, where are you guys getting? I don't know where people are getting that. I don't know why people were so into the characters and into this squad. Like, maybe, but not really. There were too many people that I couldn't really get invested into each of them and then be invested in how they all came together as a squad. Like, I just couldn't. And honestly, this show could have been 16 episodes long. I don't know what they were doing with 20 episodes, almost an hour, more than an hour for each episode. Like, what were they doing with all that screen time? We could have, like, cut out, a lot of things, honestly. Like, I don't know why they dragged it out when there was no mystery by the time we knew who the Babel boss was. They could have shortened the hunt for the gold of the tenants and also of Vincenzo. They didn't need to go through all these hoops and mess with all these people just to hurt Babel like one by one. I don't know what the point of this whole storyline was. It was so dragged out, and like the humor was not a hit to me. Okay, I'm very honest, and I don't appreciate humor all that well. Weird things make me laugh. Yes, I only laughed when I understood the reference, but in general it was slapstick humor, and that just was not funny to me most of the time. And here's the thing, like for the main characters, I don't mind that they are anti-heroes or dark heroes. Really, I love Tagon and Telha from Arthdal Chronicles. I don't care if people are not, pure good, all good characters. It's okay. I can go morally gray like that. I just find them boring. I just find Vincenzo so boring that I don't understand why people are so into Vincenzo. Like Song Joong-ki's acting as Vincenzo when he was Unsom and Saya in Arthdal Chronicles, and he showed so much range, which is an unfair comparison because he portrayed 2 characters. Of course, he should have range. But like Vincenzo, without comparison to any other character, is so boring. I just don't get it. I feel like I have so much like rage. I don't know why I feel so much rage, because I just don't understand what people are seeing in this character. And it's just it just makes me mad. But you know what? Maybe because of this, more people will watch Arthdal Chronicles, and then they will discover Unsam and Saya, and then they will say, Vincenzo was boring. Let's all stand Saya right now, because Saya's the best boy. I am just waiting for the day when like the hype dies down, and then more people like me will come out and criticize this show the way it deserves to be criticized. The day will come. My day will come, okay? It's alright. So, the next show I would like to discuss is Taxi Driver. And to me, this is what Vincenzo wanted to be. Like, it tried so hard to be like this, but it went a completely different direction by taking that wacky, humorous approach to things. But instead, Taxi Driver went full dark, full gritty, right? I mean, the slight humor of like Kim Do-ki's characters, yeah, but in general, it was really hard-hitting and dark. And so, yeah, you see the Rainbow Taxi Squad breaking laws and beating people up and doing all these illegal things. The same things that Vincenzo and friends would do. But I just felt more engaged because I really understood where they were coming from, like the injustice that they were trying to address with their actions. Meanwhile, Vincenzo was like, revenge, I'm gonna get my gold, babble bad. I mean, okay, that's mean. There were some emotional investments there, but in general, they made their own jobs more difficult by having this wacky, humorous approach. I mentioned this earlier, but what I really like about Taxi Driver was that they explained how the law failed these victims and why they're taking revenge because of it. Right? Like, make me understand why you're doing these really violent, intense things. And then I'll support. Okay, now I have to defend my girl, Kang Ha Na, played by Esom. I have to do this because I don't understand why so many people hated her for doing her job as a prosecutor and trying to find out what was going on with all these, like, I don't know, traffickers and generally terrible people just showing up dead or beaten up or confessing out of nowhere. Like, girl just tried to figure out what was going on. It's literally her job. You know, if the prosecutors or the police are like incompetent at their jobs in K-dramas, right? People get mad because like, my God, these police are so stupid and all that. Yeah, okay. But then when they're actually doing their jobs as best as they could, people get mad too. So like, what do they want her to do? Someone even said like, they're really just annoyed at Kang Ha Na's character because like the Rainbow Taxi Squad explained why the law failed these victims and like why they're doing what they're doing, but they're still being hunted down. Like, this person is mad at the fact that someone is hunting the Rainbow Taxi Squad down when they're doing the right thing. And it's like, what is Kang Ha Na supposed to do? Is she supposed to assume that like, well, the guys that are showing up, they're kind of bad. Like, they're bad people. So I think, like, the people who go after the bad people, they must be good people. So I shouldn't go after them because they must be good. Like, do people hear what they say before they say them? And that's big coming from me, knowing that I have a podcast and all that. But, like, do people, like, do you even understand what you just said? Does this person even understand what they just said? It's literally Kang Ha Na's job to uphold the law. And I am sorry to this person who said that, you know, she was mad at Kang Ha Na for doing her job because, like, I apologize that we live in a society. I truly apologize. I am sorry that we live in a society. You know, the Rainbow Taxi Squad, they knew that what they were doing was illegal. And they knew that, you know, someday they would have to face consequences for them. They were even so open to, like, you know, confessing just to, like, not let one person take the fall and each of them take the fall for what they all did, right? They were so willing to face the consequences of their actions. But then, when Kang Ha Na found out who they were, you know, what they were doing, why they were doing it, she actually understood them, right? She even asked for their help, right? Kang Ha Na eventually joined their side because she knew that they had a role in society, you know, filling the gap that the law couldn't fill. And I would prefer that instead of her just allowing them to like run free and then being incompetent or turning a blind eye to it, because now letting them go is her choice. And you know what? I prefer that instead of like her being so incompetent that she's unable to track them down and figure out who's doing all these things. Because, now that she's aware of what's going on, letting them go is her choice. And so whatever happens now is a consequence of her actions. But she made that informed choice freely. It's not because she lacked competence. It's not because she was stupid, because she was slow, because the taxi squad was too good for her to catch them. Like, no, she knew everything that was going on. And so she made that choice to let them go, to even help them. And so, like, if something goes wrong, she can face those consequences freely of her own accord because that was her fault. Right? I really consider Kang Ha Na to be a well-written character who struggled to like find her footing in the story and also struggled to find her screen time at the start. But, she grew to be a really strong character with great character development. Like, she actually had to change how she saw her job and how she saw the law. While, the squad was mostly just dealing with like the external struggles of their individual cases and then the looming big bad that was approaching with each case and all that. Also, sorry, just going back to that person who said the thing that really ticked me off. Like, that person also said that, Kang Ha Na is so slow. Like, why can't she catch them faster if she's doing her job so well? And it's like, you know what? If she caught them faster, you'd be mad too. You'd be mad at everything Kang Ha Na does. You know what you actually want, person who said this? You want to read the webtoon where Kang Ha Na does not exist. Because yes, she's an original character for the TV show. And you know what? I found her absolutely necessary. Because if she didn't exist, the only plot would be like the Rainbow Taxi Squad dealing with external things and punishing all the bad guys, and then the police coming after them and then not being able to chase them down because of course they're too good to be caught. And then, no one's going to find them and then prosecute them or whatever. And then if they did get found, right? If they did get caught, like, no one would be there to defend them or take their side or let them go consciously because Kang Ha Na's not there, and who knows how other characters would have reacted. Kang Ha Na is now here protecting them with the law. She's great. I just have so much rage, for how Kang Ha Na was like seen by so many people, which just made no sense to me. Because, yeah, you're just telling a girl not to do her job. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Okay, moving on. Sorry. I just also want to praise my lovely Jae-hoon. He needs to be nominated for Best Actor. Maybe not for Move to Heaven because it was too short. He didn't really get to show off all that much. But he was really great there. Also, maybe here. He deserves that. Because, like, you know what? I thought that Kim Doki would be a super, like, stoic character who doesn't say anything. Or just, like, does all the action stuff and like doesn't really have much of a character, like Vincenzo. Anyway, but Kim Doki is one super funny. Like, the best piece of writing in this show was making Kim Doki be like a former aspiring actor, which explains why he's so into his like roles when he's pretending to be people to get close to like the bad guys. Like, that is the single funniest piece of writing in K-dramas that I've seen in so long. But okay, in general, Lee Jae-hoon was good at like, yeah, the stoic parts. He was good at the action parts. He also had emotional parts. He was so good at that. Like, Lee Jae-hoon is the king of neck acting, jaw acting. Like, just look at his neck and his jaw and you already know that he's about to cry. You know that he's gonna punch someone in the face 2 seconds later. He's really good at like full body taking the character in. I love Lee Jae-hoon so much. Honestly, the show got a little slow when the writers changed. Like, some people said they didn't notice it, but dude, I totally noticed it. It got so slow. It lost like the punchy aspect of it. I don't know how to describe it, but just like that little oomph of like, wow, this is a cool show. I'm really enjoying what I'm watching. It kind of lost that towards episode 10, and then we found out that the writer changed. But like, who knows what the original writer envisioned for the ending. I'll take what we got plot wise, really. But like moment by moment, episode by episode, scene per scene, it just got a lot slower for me. In summary though, this is a solid show. I really enjoyed this. I mean, it was a little too dark and violent at times, but it approached the revenge story in an interesting and kind of mature way that made me think about it really. Like, what were they doing? Was it truly wrong or really right? They really addressed the morally gray aspect of their actions there. And, they weren't like cartoon anti-heroes against cartoon villains. Unlike Vincenzo. Anyway, moving on. Okay, next show I watched this quarter was Law School. Honestly, this show it's crazy, but it's fun. It's pretty enjoyable. I came into it with no expectations. Like really, I just watched it because it was on Netflix, and the pilot surprised me. I really enjoyed it. I was so into it. It got a little boring though towards the middle, and then it just dragged out some plot lines, and then like the way the show was paced is like some plot lines show up and then they vanish, and then they show up again and then they vanish, and then I get lost. Like they just come up conveniently every now and then, and it's like, all right, we're not done with this issue yet. Oh, I have to say this, but I'm not a fan of Kang A. Sorry. She's not relatable to me. Personally, I think that's why a lot of people love her. And Kang A feels like a combination of Dalmi from Startup, Jinwoo from Life, and Doksun from Reply 1988, which are three of the protagonists that I dislike the most. Like, she's similar to Dalmi because, she always magically knows the right thing to do. Even if she's like shown to be the dumbest person in her class, like somehow with all her earnestness to help the people in the legal clinic, she knows exactly what needs to be done. And it's like, oh, okay, so I don't know, I guess being a good lawyer is just instinct now, huh? Who knows? She's similar to Jinwoo from Life because she always just wants to get involved in everything, and people just let her. Like, people just let her sit in on everything and snoop around and do everything she wants. And it's just like, why is no one stopping this girl? And why is she playing such a huge role in things that are bigger than her? Ironically, she's also similar to Doksun, which is like Ryu Ye-young's younger sister. She was Bora, right? In Reply 1988. So she's similar to Doksun now because she's just loud and annoying and whiny. God. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna apologize to everyone who really identified with her. She's just not a character I liked at all. I found her really annoying. I also found Han Junwi annoying. Like, Kim Boom's acting aside, he has like two expressions, honestly. But aside from that, like, he would have been acceptable. He was acceptable at the start. I was okay with him. But then I got super annoyed with him when he just turned into like this hopeless, helpless, whatever romantic towards Kang Sol-ae, just constantly staring at her and smiling at her. And it's just like, dude, after his like murder suspicions were cleared, like he just became a useless character. Well, not useless, but like, yeah, just like a love-struck fool. And it just got so annoying that I couldn't even pay attention to it. I hated it. And needless to say, I'm not a Solvi fan. Sorry, guys. It's just not for me. But, guys, this isn't even a romance. People were expecting so much from them. Because the truth is, this is a Yankerties show. Yankerties is the true star of the show. Like, he's just effortlessly funny. He's so extra. Especially when he turns the courtroom into his like lecture hall. Oh, he's so funny. I don't have a deep emotional attachment to Young Curtis. I just find him really funny. And that's kind of how I feel about the show in general. Like, I didn't expect much from it. I didn't get emotionally invested in anyone or anything. It was just funny. It was pretty entertaining at times, though it also got pretty boring at times. I also felt squad vibes every now and then. Like, I did feel that with the students here, you know? And like, if they did not do the time skip in the finale, we could have gotten season 2 where it's like slice of life law school where everything is chill and they're just students dealing with their daily lives. You know, petition to turn everything into slice of life and we'll see just how much better it could be. Overall, like, law school is okay. It's entertaining. It's not stellar writing at all. It's just not. Not even stellar directing. That the director of The Light in Your Eyes as well, that person just does some really crazy camera shots that I don't know what they're thinking, and it really did take me out every now and then, but whatever. You know, this show made me realize that I can tolerate things that aren't that great, guys. Like, I'm not that much of a snob or whatever. It's fine. I can enjoy things every now and then, as long as it's like mildly entertaining. You know? I don't think this show took itself too seriously, which is good. It grew very popular here in the Philippines. So at the moment, it's a little overhyped. But we'll see how it holds up as more time passes. Okay, another ongoing show that I watched was Youth of May. Oh man, this is just a classic melodrama, honestly. My sister and I had a bet on who would die. Spoiler alert, I got it right, but I'm not telling you who. In general, chemistry between Go Min-shi and Lee Do-yoon was good. Yeah, there were some moments where I really felt like, oh man, I want them to be together so bad. And once again, Lee Do-yoon was a star. He did great here. Initially, I didn't love the characters too much, but like eventually, I really felt for like Go Min-shi's character. Like, girl deserves the world after everything she's been through. And I do not understand people who like Suryeon, like the second lead girl. She's a terrible person. Not just a terrible character, but like if I met someone like her in real life, I'd probably hate her. She's a terrible person. I just don't know why anyone likes her. Honestly though, I got bored like halfway through, which is sad because it's only 12 episodes and I still got bored. I think it's just because it's a melodrama that just has to drag the sadness out and all that. And, you know, I just wanted to watch to know who was going to die. Honestly, yeah. Overall, just a classic melodrama with good chemistry and a tragic story. Tragic historical background even. It's based on like real events. So that's also really sad. Okay, the show I'm about to talk about, I'm super excited. I felt like it's so underrated while it was airing for many reasons. I'm talking about Mad for Each Other, the web drama that was on Netflix actually. You know what? I just decided to watch this because episodes were only 30 minutes long and there were only 13 episodes. I'm like, what am I going to lose by watching this show? But I did not lose. I gained. I ended up loving the show so much for some reason. Like, it's about two people who are going to the same therapist and then they also apparently live beside each other in the same apartment complex. And the guy has anger issues and the girl has like anxiety and PTSD and stuff. And it's just a ridiculous situation, right? It's just totally ridiculous. And then they just get on each other's nerves in the worst possible way. It's amazing. But when they start understanding each other, like getting close to each other and really getting to know each other, oh man, they become allies, you know, they become friends. And it's the slow burn. It's a good slow burn in the best possible way. And it's not just a slow burn romantically, but also a slow burn for them as individuals because they're getting better slowly. You know, I really, really, really love Huyo, Jung-woo's character here. He has anger issues, yeah, but he's just actually a really lovable person who's super like open-minded, accepting, heart on his sleeve, risk it all type of person. I love him so much. And for Min Kyung, Oh Yeon-so's character, I felt so bad for her. Really, like I loved seeing her slowly recover and become a stronger and braver person despite what she is continuing to face, right? And what I really love about the show, it's similar to It's Okay That's Love. It shows how love and relationships cannot cure people of their mental illnesses. Like, you know, when people haven't fully recovered from what they're dealing with and they haven't unlearned everything that led them to that vulnerable mental state, like it takes so little to just trigger those episodes and bring them back to square one, right? And spoiler alert here, but this show had the best pre-finale breakup, which I usually find so unnecessary. Like, I just think, oh god, they just had to introduce some drama right before the finale to make, you know, the reunion more satisfying for some reason. But this breakup was absolutely necessary. I wanted them to break up. You hear that? I wanted them to break up not because I hated them, not because I hated their characters, but because this was the right thing to do for both of them, right? They needed to get better as individuals if they wanted a stable relationship. I think another thing I love about the show is that it had so much potential to be all about quirky characters. You know what quirky means to me. Listen to my run-on episode if you want to hear more about why I hate quirky characters. But surprisingly, they're very real and they're very grounded in issues. And like their quirkiness kind of makes sense given what they're dealing with. Really, it's just a very simple show with great characters, great development, great relationship, great lessons, a great OST. It's actually funny, even if like at times I was afraid that it was gonna go into like, you know, problematic territory and I was gonna get a bit uncomfortable. But then it turns out like, oh, these are very wholesome, good characters who managed to make this funny without making it offensive. Thank you so much. Most importantly, this show was short and sweet. 13 episodes, 30 minutes each. Here's the story. Go, enjoy it. You know, it didn't meander too much. Even for a web drama, which you'd be surprised. A lot of web dramas tend to just be aimless because they think, I don't have to, you know, fill up my time with ratings or whatever. I can just release whatever I want. But no, they did not waste my time with this show. Watch Mad for Each Other, guys. It's worth it. And the last ongoing show that I just finished, like a few hours ago, was mine. At first, I thought this was going to be the penthouse that I would enjoy. But then it just got more and more boring as time passed. All the storylines kind of developed into more boring stories over time. And then I just lost all investment. I was really only here for Lee Bo-young because I love her face. I love her acting. She's actually a really good actress. I love her outfits also. Like, every scene is like, outfit check, Lee Bo-young. What are you wearing right now? Wasn't super invested in it. But I'm glad it took things in the directions it took them. I don't know. Let's leave it at that. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the ongoing shows that I dropped in the middle of, you know, its run. First is Doom at Your Service. I dropped this at episode 1. Like, episode 1 failed to even get my attention for a bit. I knew it. I was on my phone the entire time. I couldn't try to even pay attention to it. I wanted to watch it for So In-guk and Park Bo-young. I think they're good actors. But, like, it didn't captivate me at all. And then it seemed very tropey. Like a knockoff Goblin, yeah. And then I just didn't see the need to continue it. I'm sure they have good chemistry. Yeah, I can see that even through like the behind the scenes and all the clips of it going around on Twitter and all. But it just comes off as a show that's mostly about the romance and nothing else. we know how I feel about those kinds of shows. I don't want to waste my energy. If there's nothing else but the romance, what's going to happen to the show if I'm not a fan of the romance, right? What if I don't see the chemistry between them? What other story is there to tell? There's nothing. And you'd say, like, it's a romance show, man. It's just not for you. But it's like, really? Okay. I guess it's not for me. Who knows? I felt like people were raving about it for the first few weeks. But I think the interest has slowly died down. And people are starting to admit that the love line is boring. So, okay. It's about to end, I think, this week. So, who knows what'll happen. Maybe I'll give it a second chance. We'll see based on what people say about the finale. If it's even worth trying again. Who knows. But if we are talking about tropey writing, I also tried to watch My Roommate is a Gumiho. And good lord, I could not. I dropped it after 2 episodes. I was mostly mad at the fact that the episodes were like an hour and 10 minutes long. And it's like, please tell me what you're going to do with those 10 minutes. Tell me why this show deserves a 70-minute runtime. Tell me, Gumiho, why do you need all this time? It's not like it had so much plot going on. It was just like a bunch of cutesy, wacky moments and then this love line, I guess. Barely anything happens. I don't know why you needed to spend 70 minutes on this show. And we know what's going to happen eventually, right? I mean, coming from only watching the first 2 episodes, right? We know they're just gonna be roommates and then they're gonna fall in love somehow and then she's gonna face some life-threatening stuff because he's a fox, he's a gumiho and all that, and then he's gonna die, probably, or something. If I end up being right, hey, I'm just telling you, it's just tropey writing, man. Anyone can figure it out. It's not rocket science. This is the kind of brainless rom-com that a lot of people enjoy. I can see that. They're enjoying. And you know what? More power to you. I wish I were you. I wish I enjoyed brainless rom-coms. But all I want is suffering, I guess. Also, I'm not a fan of, like, Jang Ki-young's acting. Or Yeri's acting, for that matter. But I won't comment on that anymore. Let's just leave it at that. I will not be giving this show a second chance. Sorry. And the last show I dropped in this cycle was Dark Hole, which makes me sad. This makes me sad because we dropped it at episode 10 out of 12. Because like that weekend was the weekend that we watched Designated Survivor. We binged it. And then when we thought like, oh, should we watch Dark Hole after? And it's like, nah, it's not worth it. Because the entire time it was going nowhere. From episode, 2 to episode 10, like, what really changed? Maybe they kind of switched where they went, but, like, in general, you'd think they'd be closer to the truth by now. But they're just not. It was really a directionless show for the most part. I had high hopes because I liked Strangers from Hell, and I heard good things about Save Me. And I also love Lee Jun-hyuk and Kim Ok-win. So, there were so many reasons for me to like this, but it just wasn't that good. It was so slow, it took too much time building things up, and then nothing actually progressed. So what was the point of all that? I heard the ending barely answered any questions, so I guess it was a good idea to drop the show, because it wasn't really leading up to anything worth it. Oh well, I just, there's this feeling that's like, I don't care if I don't finish the show. That feeling, so, oh well. So currently, what are the ongoing shows that I am watching? I am watching Racket Boys right now. Of course, I watched this because this is the writer of Prison Playbook. And it's just a very wholesome show. It's just a bunch of kids acting like kids, which I appreciate. They're not... Well, I guess this isn't American TV where teenagers are hypersexual or overly mature or whatever. So... yeah, I guess that's pretty normal. But yeah, I love these children. They are my children now. I'm kind of irritated at the acting of the dad. Like, literally, he's acting. Okay, the way he acts. But I'll just ignore him because it's about the kids and I love my children. Sometimes it gets a little boring, but I consider this to be slice of life. Yeah, sports anime slash slice of life. So yeah, par for the course. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with getting bored. It's fine. It's part of it. Also, I am pretty sure this writer is writer Lee Woo-jung of Shin PD, Shin PD's World. I'm sure this person is an assistant writer of Writer Lee because their style is so similar. Like, I'm sure this writer picked up so many, similar tropes and style and all that from Writer Lee. It's not a show like Mine or Law School that was supposed to be super gripping and like some thriller, suspense, mystery, or whatever that should, keep me engaged but wasn't able to. Right? It's just a chill, wholesome, fun show. And yeah, I love my children, so I'm definitely gonna keep watching this. Another show I am currently watching is Hospital Playlist Season 2. As of now, only 2 episodes have come out. And I won't say much because I will be doing an episode on this soon. But let me just say, that first episode left me emotionally devastated. Okay? I cannot even... You cannot even fathom what I went through that night after watching the first episode. And you know why I was so devastated from that. If you don't know, it's because of Esom, okay? I will do anything for Esom. The second episode gave me a little more hope. Like, I slept more peacefully that night. But after the emotional devastation of episode 1, I will remain cautiously optimistic. I will not be too excited for this because I don't want to hurt myself. And the last ongoing show that I'm watching right now is Nevertheless. So currently, only 2 episodes have come out. And the first episode was like just visually beautiful. The music was good. Yeah, Han So-hee is a good actress. I really have to say this. Like, I thought she would be stuck in the Dakyong from World of the Married couple's image in my head. Like, I thought it would be difficult for me to see her outside of that role. But no, it's very easy for me to see her as Nabi now. This kind of like a little naive girl who's, unlucky with love and relationships and is gullible and just frustrating. Her character could have come off as the typical naive, hopeless, romantic-ish, shy girl who gets played with by a playboy, who we all know Jaeon is a playboy. Come on, let's not kid ourselves here. But she doesn't come off as one note as she could have. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Some people could have played that in such a, simple, meek, shy girl way. But, like, it helps that Han So-hee has a very strong, cool girl image to her. Like, yeah, sometimes your face helps, with the role you're portraying to not be as one note as people expect you to be. So, good for her. Even if I am pissed off at how stupid her character is, I get it. I get it, girl. I will judge you. But I will still wish for your happiness and support you in, getting rid of men. Of this terrible human being. I think that's her magic, Han So-hee. Like, the fact that she made me, sympathize with Yunabi and also Dakyung back in the World of the Married. I felt bad for that girl, okay? I wanted her to be free of Teo. I didn't want her to suffer anymore with that piece of trash. But yeah, she's doing a really good job so far. Well, on the other side, I don't want to definitively comment on Song Kang's acting yet. Like, I will try to wait for the show to finish and for us to really see the full spectrum of his character and all that. Like, I'm sure he's supposed to come off as like mysterious and charming and all that, but he tends to do the same smile and chuckle every time he interacts with Han So-hee's character, with Yunabi. And it's just not impressive to me, okay? Like, I'm just getting sick of it already. A lot of K-nets, Korean netizens, are attacking him, which is not good, of course. Like, we don't want people to be openly bashed all the time, every single thing they do. But then a lot of international fans are also defending him just because he's being attacked, without really listening to what some of these K-nets are saying. Like, not the obviously, like, just hating for the sake of hating on. Like, some people are saying some, like, genuine criticism, right? Some genuine, like, opinions on things that aren't rooted in, like, just hating someone for the sake of hating them. The main criticism of his acting, even from Park In-wan, by the way, the guy who played Haraboji in Navilera, someone who has been acting for over 50 years, okay? Just let's remember that. The main criticism is that he has problems with vocalization, which I interpret to be like, the clarity of his words, or the volume of how he speaks, and then, the variety of his, like, cadence of how he speaks and all that. Other, etc., etc. This is also the main criticism for most idol actors, which I will not give any names, but I'm sure you can think of some of them. Except he's not an idol, which makes people think that, he's above the idol actors that are often criticized for not being good at vocalization. International fans are like saying, it's not that big of a problem the way he speaks. He's fine, he's doing great, and all that. Like, K-nets are just attacking him because he's popular and he's handsome and all that. But, like, most international fans don't speak Korean. Right? They don't speak the language. We don't get the full experience of someone's acting from, like, face, body, voice, right? Because our attention is split from, watching what's going on and also reading, right? And, the audio, the voice isn't really that important to us because, we can glean some meaning or some acting from what we hear, but to really pair that with understanding what they're saying, not just how they're saying it. We can't understand how they're saying it completely because we don't really know what they're saying. Do you get my point? So Koreans, being the ones who speak the language, they know what good vocalization sounds like because they actually understand what's being said and what is being spoken, what's being acted. They have a right to talk about vocalization and criticize it if there is something to criticize. And, like, I don't know, based on the other idol actors who are being criticized for that, I can kind of pick out the similarities and see that, okay, maybe this is what they're talking about, even if I don't speak the language. My point is, like, sometimes they are definitely just attacking the actor for the sake of attacking the actor. Okay? But sometimes they have a point. And we don't get to have a say in it because they're talking about something that we cannot fully understand as international fans. I hope I didn't lose anyone with that whole tangent. But yeah, in general, Song Kang's acting, I'm not impressed. Sorry. I still don't know why he got nominated in Sweet Home, but I think, like, he just matched, the awkward, aloof characteristics of his character in Sweet Home. But what does that say about his acting in other roles, and why does he only get kind of recognized for a role that requires him to be awkward and stiff? Who knows what that says about his acting? Who knows? Anyway, so to summarize this, here is my current ranking of all the shows I've watched this year and how I rank my top 10. So, from 10 going up, 10th, I Hear Your Voice. 9th, Mr. Sunshine. 8th, Mad for Each Other. 7, Be Melodramatic. 6, 18 again. And now onto my top 5, my ultimate faves. 5, Stranger 2. 4, Arthdal Chronicles. 3, Live. 2, Dear My Friends. And number 1, Designated Survivor 60 Days. That's right. And you will find out why in next week's episode. So that's it for me today. This was not a productive quarter for me, completed K-dramas wise. It's just really hard to find shows that manage to captivate me the way shows like Live or Be Melodramatic or Arthville Chronicles or Designated Survivor did. I guess I just have to keep trying and keep, looking for shows and having no expectations for them because I tend to enjoy things when I don't expect anything from them. But yeah, so season 2 of Dramabuds will officially start with next week's episode. Hopefully, my new segments for the show will keep me happy and engaged just to watch more shows in general for the rest of the year. And I hope I have more time to enjoy the shows I'm watching. I need to enjoy things more, honestly. I need to stop criticizing things and just enjoy things more. But we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, and tell me what you thought about today's episode. See you soon!